I'm going to talk to you about something that I am so super excited about, and I've been doing a lot of research on this topic, and that topic is intermittent fasting. Now, if you're not familiar with that, it's okay, but you definitely need to hear the overview of the benefits of intermittent fasting, and that's what this is going to be about today, is just an overview. There's so much information, and it is so incredibly exciting to me that you can do this one simple thing and change so much about your health. And I'm not just talking weight loss, of course, but that is, I'm going to call it just a side effect of intermittent fasting. It's not really the main reason why you should consider doing intermittent fasting. It's kind of just a side effect. There's so many other incredible benefits to just changing when you eat, not even what you eat, just when you eat. So one of the reasons that I am so excited about this is that this is something that I've actually done many times before. Years ago, high school even, I kind of did a form of intermittent fasting. However, there probably wasn't such a thing back then, in the 80s. And I always thought that I was doing something wrong, that I was just starving myself. And that's not what health professionals tell you to do, right? They tell you gotta eat all day long, eat breakfast is the most important meal of the day. You should eat 6 to 8 small meals throughout the day, eat all day long. And so this is the stuff that we've been hearing. And of course it can work if you eat the right foods. And I've tried it many times, and I don't like eating small meals all day long. I feel like I'm more hungry when I do that. But back to my story about when I've intermittent fasted, or I used to call it starving myself. Now I know better, but that's the time I have lost the most weight. And what I used to do is basically just skip dinner. Really, all intermittent fasting is just a shortened eating window is all you're doing. There are other ways that you can intermittent fast. This is just one example, but that is the way that I was doing it, is I was skipping dinner. I would just, quit eating at 4 or 5 o'clock and then not eat at night and then just eat breakfast the next day. Basically, intermittent fasting. I lost the most weight doing that. And I remember feeling like really good when I would do that. I had energy. I remember not really feeling all that hungry. But it didn't make sense to me because this is not what you hear. And I have a health education degree, and I've been in the health industry, in the field, and just, interested in this field all my life. And it's not what you learn, it's not what you hear is the right way to eat. So I'm here to tell you that it works, and there are so many incredible health benefits. So let's dive into just an overview of all of the health benefits aside from weight loss. Okay, well, first of all, I just want to talk really quick about your metabolism, because what we hear is that when you starve yourself, you're going to ruin your metabolism. And what I have found in the research I've done, I'm reading this book by a doctor who cites research that has shown that your metabolism is not affected until about 3 or 4 days of not eating. They have found that actually your metabolism increases after a fast. So let me just go over some just kind of bullet points of what intermittent fasting can do for you. So it can produce massive fat burning and weight loss, increased human growth hormone, which we will talk about, enhanced brain function. Who doesn't want enhanced brain function? You want to be a little smarter? That's okay. Especially as we age. Seems my brain doesn't work as well as it used to. Insulin sensitivity, so we're going to talk a little bit about insulin. Improvement of beneficial gut bacteria, that's a good one. Reduction in cancer, leptin sensitivity, which is another hormone that we will discuss, ghrelin hormone normalization, decreased sugar cravings, and decreased oxidative stress, increased lifespan. So that's kind of a quick overview. Now let's talk about hormones, because that is what intermittent fasting has the most effect on. And there's all these incredible hormones that do all these crazy things in our body. And intermittent fasting can help control those, and will do things that will benefit you, like you it's just amazing. So, okay, let's talk about the first one. The first one I'm going to discuss is leptin. Now, leptin is commonly called the fat hormone, and that hormone limits your cravings. It helps you feel full and satiated when you eat. And so when you fast, you increase your leptin, and so when you eat, you feel more full. Now, the other hormone opposite from that is called ghrelin, and ghrelin is your hunger hormone. So when you fast, the ghrelin hormone actually decreases, and so you don't feel hungry all the time. And I don't know if you've ever gone without food, like you got really busy and you forgot to eat, and you get hungry, right? But then after a little bit of time, it kind of just goes away. You're not hungry anymore. And that's ghrelin working. So ghrelin also, when you eat all day long, or you eat like a big carb meal, ghrelin will be produced in your body. And so I don't know if you've noticed sometimes too, when you eat a huge meal, you're so stuffed, and maybe it was a lot of carbs like pizza and bread, and then like, I don't know, an hour or two later, you're hungry again. Like, why would I be hungry after eating that big meal with all the carbs? It's because of ghrelin. Okay, so ghrelin will make you hungry. So again, intermittent fasting will slow the ghrelin hormone down, okay? Now, insulin, we've all heard of insulin. Now, insulin tells our body to store fat. Insulin is very interesting. The more sensitive you are to insulin, the more likely you will be using the food you consume efficiently. So, fasting will increase your sensitivity to insulin. And there's another aspect of insulin that we'll get to, but I haven't talked about the other hormone yet, and that's human growth hormone. And human growth hormone and insulin kind of work opposite of each other. They aren't produced at the same time in your body. They have to be at different times. So let's talk about that a little bit. Okay, so one of the main hormones affected by intermittent fasting is called human growth hormone. And this hormone is responsible for a ton of important bodily functions and health and a bunch of stuff. So we're going to talk about human growth hormone next. Human growth hormone is responsible for muscle building and fat loss. It helps with metabolism. So human growth hormone and insulin actually work opposite of each other. So now I want to kind of talk about how they work together and how fasting will help with human growth hormone production. Human growth hormone is higher in the morning after you've slept because you haven't eaten. There's no glycogen, your body's used up all the glucose and glycogen in your body, and so your body will produce human growth hormone. And insulin will be really low at that point because you have no glucose, you haven't eaten. So they work opposite of each other. The more sensitive you are to insulin, the more human growth hormone you will secrete. They also have found that when women and men intermittent fast, you can increase your human growth hormone production by up to 2,000% in men and 1,500% in women. That's pretty huge. The other important thing to think about when we're talking about human growth hormone is that it is only released when there's no insulin in your bloodstream. And that will only happen when you're in a fasted state. So that's why it's higher in the morning when you haven't been eating. And that's why fasting more often will help you increase your human growth hormone, thereby increasing your metabolism, increasing your muscle gain. I mean, if you're lifting weights, that's a good thing. I also saw on here in the book that I was reading that intermittent fasting compared to calorie restrictive diets, you end up losing a lot less muscle. A lot of times, with the low calorie diets, you're going to lose a lot of muscle tone along with fat. And with intermittent fasting, I think it was like 10% versus like 25% of muscle loss with calorie restrictive diets, and 10% with intermittent fasting. So that's helpful because the more muscle you have, the higher your metabolism and the more fat you're going to burn. So they all work really well together. So I hope that this kind of gave you just a little insight into intermittent fasting. There's so much more information that I just can't share on one video. But I will be sharing more as I learn more and as I try it myself. I've been testing it, different ways of doing it, and I'm finding really the main thing that I feel is free. I feel freedom. I don't feel like I have to eat a certain way and be stuck on this set of rules about what I should eat. And because I like to eat and I like to kind of eat what I want. I don't like to eat salad all the time or high protein and whatever. So I feel freedom in that. I don't have to count calories or anything. I've lost weight. I don't get on the scale a lot, so I don't know how much I've lost yet, but I can tell I've lost weight. My energy level is high. I did share on one blog post or one social media post that I was having some depression issues, and that's actually been going on for a couple years. And I don't know if it's due just to intermittent fasting. There's some other things going on with me, but I feel a lot better. I don't have the same sadness going on that I've felt, at least not as consistently. And I did read somewhere that this helps with depression as well. I think the benefits will go on and on and on, and we will find out that this is like a miracle cure for so many things. And I just think it's super exciting because it's something that one simple thing that I can do, and I can change my health in so many ways. And weight loss is, like I said, it's kind of a side effect. So anyway, I hope that this was interesting to you, and stay tuned for more on this topic, I promise.